So careful what you say now.
Okay, thanks for the
Well, you
warning.
guys are, do you live stream your meetings?
No.
No,
Your meetings?
someday.
School district does, right?
We haven't since COVID,
Oh.
so we probably should get back to doing it, because I'm sure people attend.
Okay, thanks for.
Well, you guys, you live.
I'm saying, that's
Okay,
like a delay.
thanks for.
Well, you guys.
I shouldn't have sat here. You see that now? Someday. Who's this, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
you-
there's a delay, that's what I'm trying to do now.
Okay. Well, thanks for being here. We're glad that we're not here by ourselves. So, we're gonna get started. Like I say, there's an agenda with some information that I need to read, and then I'm gonna share a short presentation and then open it up to public comment. So, at what time is it? 12:01. We are opening this public hearing pursuant to and in accordance with General Municipal Law, Section 859A. The County of Franklin Industrial Development Agency is conducting this public hearing in connection with a certain proposed project, as more fully described below, to be undertaken by the agency for the benefit of Branch Commercial Development LLC. The agency published a notice of public hearing in it was in the Malone Telegram, and mailed a copy of the public hearing notice to each affected taxing jurisdiction. An affidavit of publication and proof of mailing are attached. Branch Commercial Development for itself and or for an entity or entities to be formed has submitted an application to the agency requesting the agency's assistance with a certain project consisting of the acquisition and installation of certain machinery, equipment, and other items of tangible personal property. Collectively, the equipment in furtherance of the planning, design, construction, renovation, and re-equipping of the existing approximately 49,000 square foot hotel facility containing 81 hotel rooms, along with other related amenities, site work, exterior access and egress improvements, parking, curvage, signage, utility and related exterior improvements located on an approximately 3-acre parcel of real property located at 3351 State Route 11, Malone, New York, being more particularly described as tax parcel number 1112.1-1.300. It is contemplated that the agency will appoint the company as agent to undertake the project. The agency contemplates that it will provide financial assistance to the company in the form of a sales and use tax exemption for purchases and rentals to the project. The foregoing financial assistance and the agency's involvement in the project are being considered to promote the economic welfare and prosperity of residents of the County of Franklin. Based on the information provided by the company in its application, the project will involve an approximately $2,180,000 capital investment by the company, along with the retention of jobs and continued payment of sales tax revenues for the benefit of the affected taxing jurisdictions. The agency estimates the following amounts of financial assistance to be provided to the company of approximately $156,750. Okay. They should require attorneys to read out loud what they write. Because it all, on the one hand, it's a lot of, it's all important, but some of it's hard to read out loud. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen and just go through a short presentation and then we'll open it up to comments. Oh, I need. It should. Yep. Yep. Okay, so. Just a little bit of background about who we are. So we're, as you can see the sign, Franklin County Economic Development Corporation is the name that we use as an umbrella. But we're actually consist of three different agencies: the Industrial Development Agency, the Economic Development Corporation, and then the Civic Development Corporation, managed by the same 5 staff and 7-member board appointed by the legislature. This project is specifically an industrial development agency project, which you guys know something about because you have one. IDAs are a public benefit corporation governed and created through the Industrial Development Act. And we can provide benefits as described on the screen: manufacturing, warehouse, research, commercial, and a variety of other types of projects. There's 4 different types of financial assistance benefits that an IDA can make to a qualifying project. First is a real property tax exemption. And this is what people most commonly know as far as what IDAs do, and that's full exemption from property taxes, but always followed with a payment in lieu of tax agreement. Number 2 is a sales tax exemption, a mortgage tax, recording tax exemption, and then state income tax exemption when there's the interest on debt. And we have guidelines that and procedures that set forth how we can provide these exemptions. In this case, for this project only anticipates a sales tax exemption. None of those other exemptions are under consideration for this project. Here's our process. So we receive an application form from the applicant. We do an initial resolution once we think it's complete. We did that last month for this project. Then there's in a negotiation if necessary. With a sales tax project, there is none. There certainly would be if there is a pilot, because there's a lot to discuss, the term, any number of things. But for a sales tax project, there really isn't a negotiation. We are right now at step 4, which is the public hearing. And then anytime after the public hearing, the board of directors can consider what's called the authorizing resolution, which is actually approving the project. So this project specifically, we all know where it is, and as was described in what I already read, they are proposing to do a complete interior and exterior remodel of the Holiday Inn Express building. All new fixtures, furniture, equipment, rugs, carpets, wall coverings in all of the guest rooms, the hallways, and in the common space on the first floor. They are also repainting the exterior and adding an outdoor patio fireplace. Total, there's no change in the square footage of the building or the number of rooms. So the total investment is, I think I've got this wrong. I think it's 2 point. What I said in the here is more accurate. $2.18 million capital investment. And as I mentioned, they are requesting assistance in the form of a sales tax exemption. So what that means in sales tax exemption is that when they purchase goods and services directly related to the construction or renovation, they basically are able to take a sales tax exemption certificate and be exempt from sales tax on anything that they otherwise would have to pay sales tax on. It does not apply to ongoing operations and sales. It's only on purchases related to the renovation. And there's when we do a project closing, there is a time limit set on when all of those purchases have to happen. A year, year and a half, depending on the scope of the project. Again, so this project only is anticipating sales tax exemption. Total financial assistance is approximately $157,000. We run a cost benefit analysis that tries to look at some of the benefits that come from the project and weigh those against the cost of providing the sales tax exemption. In this case, we ran this as if there's no job creation because it's not an expansion, it's just it's a renovation. And so the presumption is that they will be retaining the existing jobs. And so a lot of the economic impact that comes from this that can be measured is the temporary construction jobs that will be created during the renovation. And our model estimates that there'll be upwards of 17 direct jobs with earnings of about $1.1 million. And the local spend, you can see at $2.9 million. Direct. Indirect is stuff that's not direct, or jobs that are not directly involved in the construction that would be created as a result of having that number of construction jobs around for a certain amount of time. Other benefits that are not included in our model, but because it's kind of hard to estimate, but the project will also stabilize or increase property tax revenue for the town and the county and school district. Sales tax revenue that will be stabilized once the project is completed. And then also occupancy tax revenue, which goes to the county. So in summary, this kind of shows the estimated benefits to the local community. And when we talk local, it's basically within county, town, and school district. And then the state benefit, the cost to each is about the same because the estimated total exemption is $156,000. It's 4% to each. And so our estimate is that there's a 17-to-1, quite frankly, what I care about more is local benefit than the state, but 17-to-1 local benefit versus the cost for this project, which is we've only been doing these types of calculations for about a year. That's higher than what we've normally seen for pilot projects, because this does not cost anything in property taxes over time. So that's my presentation. And so now we will open it up to any and all public comment. We've got 3 of you here and you can ask questions or make comments or not. It's totally up to you. Floor is yours.
I'll ask a question about this.
Sure.
So what was the revenue generated last year by the corporation for that particular hotel? Just trying to think down the road as far as calculating what taxes would be generated upon that, heading back or coming back into the district. Do you have any idea?
As far as property taxes?
Yes.
That's a good question. I don't know, but I think you're referring to because they have an existing payment in lieu of tax agreement.
Correct, yes.
And that's expiring,
Yes,
right,
Yep.
At the end of this year.
Yeah.
yes.
And so I think what we'd have to look at, I'm happy to bring it up after.
Sure.
I
Yeah,
can
that's
get the pilot agreement, bring it up and we can look at it.
Okay.
Because I don't remember what their calculation is for this year. It might be like 10%.
Right.
Exemption.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm not sure either. I can
Yeah.
find out too.
Well, I've got it.
Okay.
We could pull it up.
All right, yeah, if
quickly.
you don't mind, thank you.
So yeah, that will happen, that closes out at the end of this calendar year,
Mhm.
regardless of this.
Okay,
But it's a good question because, it'll be, what, 10% more than it was last year,
Right.
probably. As a ballpark, I don't know what it was, but we can bring the agreement up in a few minutes.
Appreciate it.
So to be clear, there's no expansion, this is just a refurb of the entire place.
Right. Other than, and I don't know the details, patio.
Yeah, yeah,
Out back.
Yeah.
And fireplace, yeah.
because there was talk of an expansion. Is that coming down? Probably don't know it.
No,
Doesn't have any-
I know there was talk of it, but this is, yeah, scope. I don't, if there's something in the future. We'd have to address that separately.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is simply the, I don't wanna say simply, because it sounds complicated to. To refurbish 80 rooms, but it's just reinvestment in the existing building.
How old is the hotel? On top of your head?
I think that agreement, the
It's
pilot
like
agreement.
9 or 10, 2009 or
Something
10.
like that,
Yeah.
yeah.
So there will be no subsequent pilot agreement.
Correct.
Expected,
No,
or,
no. No,
so
all,
come March 1st. Taxable status day.
Yep.
They should be expected to be on the roll.
yeah, and there's a number of, there's paperwork that. The attorneys deal with that we're currently working on with them to close all that out. So that it, that agreement no longer exists, and it's as if,
And I'll make sure our assessor knows to expect it.
and I'm gonna bring it up while we're talking, because that will answer.
He's aware that it's ending, I spoke to you.
He might be, but. you know,
Right, no, yeah,
Wouldn't hurt to.
no, yeah, we make sure he's getting all paid for it.
I believe there's something that we send to the assessor. Also. But again, that's about a,
We just want him aware of it, making sure that he's already aware of it.
yeah,
Mhm.
He's on top. I'm sure he is.
let me see if I can got this right here, because this will answer the question. Looks like it was in 2010,
Okay.
yeah, so that makes sense, it's like a 15-year pilot. So it's probably about when it was,
So it's what we meant. Probably was coming out.
Any way to know the sales tax
Crazy.
generated out of curiosity on
no,
a yearly basis?
No.
No?
no, we don't have access to that. Let's see. So the,
Or the occupancy tax is probably. The same thing.
yeah, we don't have access to that. So just. The pilot agreement doesn't show percentages as far as what full taxes should be, which
Okay.
is common, but the way this one was set up. Well, I could just share my screen so you can see it. Rather than. So you can see the amount, so the total amount of the pilot per year. And so on the right-hand side, bottom corner. January 1st, 2024. That was their total pilot payment was 97,500. So you can't calculate what. Total taxes would be from that because it's
Right.
not based on a percentage.
Yep, okay.
And I think they were due like in the spring or something. I want to say April, but.
They always
Look at
do,
this.
always do at the end of the, almost always do at the end of the year. And then it takes, you to give them, for all of our projects, we give 30 days to make payment. And this one was set up where the treasurer's office collects and distributes it. Most of the pilots we're doing now, we collect and distribute. Either way, whether it's treasurer's office or our office, once we receive payment, it can take a little bit of time, week or so to get payment back out to all the taxing jurisdictions.
I like how that is streamlined. In years past, it would go to the taxing entity, like the town, let's say, if it was a pilot in the town. And our staff would calculate and distribute.
Mhm.
And we ran into occasions, and I'll bet the county did too, where entities would get a pilot amount and not distribute it.
I'm not gonna share where it was, but we found
I
out,
won't either, because it's,
we found
recorded.
out about a case in the county where that was happening or had happened, where the town. I think it was just a matter of it just got lost, right, in a folder somewhere.
people had no idea what to do with
Nobody
it.
knew and they did not share out the portions that they should have to. In that case, it was the village and the county. And
Yeah,
so, and knowing, I mean, it's a headache, let's just be honest about it.
Mhm.
So
Well, and you get staff turnovers.
Right.
and-
for us, it's all we do.
Yeah.
And to your point, it seems like there's an understanding that. Consolidating it so that we just have to keep track of it and we know what we're doing most of the time. And then distribute it out is simpler, and we have so many, as you know, because the town's got an IDA, there's so many reporting requirements. That even if we didn't want to, we'd have to keep track, just to be able to report it out to the state. Whereas if a town does its own pilot, there's nothing,
Yeah,
unless somebody
that's-
remembers, it's hard to know, but like it's part of our program, so. And so, yeah, there was a number of pilots that were set up, and this was one of them. St. Lawrence Gas is another one,
Mhm.
where the payment goes to the county and the county distributes it. And they do a fine job, but what happens there is that there can be a degree of separation on us knowing what's happening. And it came up with a project where an entity didn't pay the county and we didn't know about it for a while. It's not the county's job to enforce collection because it's an agreement between the IDA and that entity. Once we knew about it, and because they told us like, hey, we haven't gotten payment or whatever, that's
Mhm.
our job to go fix it, and we did eventually. So we've been setting these up, which is more like a pretty common practice where we collect and distribute payments because we then know the
Right.
status of everything and can keep better track.
Sounds like a common sense solution.
I would say so.
Yeah, so. For the several, there's 2 or 3, I think, that the county. Collects and distributes, and they do a fine job.
Right.
But,
Mhm.
it was a good, and they communicate very well with us, but still, it's just, we wanna,
Eventually, they'll all be
correct.
here.
I can keep talking about it all day, but.
Yeah, no. I don't-
Any other questions?
What's the timeline after this?
They
Assuming
indicated,
there's
so,
no-
so if, assuming we charge for this. We have this on our agenda for today. We have our regular meeting is today at 1:00. So the resolution, the authorizing resolution is on the agenda. If it is approved. Then our intention is to close, do all the paperwork. Get the agreement signed by the end of the year. And my understanding is that they hope to start this work in the spring. Sometime. I don't know exactly when, nor do I know how long it's gonna take. I'll have a better idea once we finalize the agreement, because there's a timeline in the agreement that all expenditures related to it have to be done by a certain time. So I just don't know what that
Most of
is.
it's inside, so.
Right,
it's
they can
not
just,
Weather dependent,
right.
really.
Yeah, you can get a lot of work done before you gotta paint the outside of the building.
right. Yep.
And do the patio.
So I don't know any other details, but other than springtime. So, and since there's no actual construction, it should go fairly quickly.
They will check with code though for building permits.
I think they already have. I don't know this.
Okay.
I don't know the status. I'm pretty
I'm sure they
sure,
will. They know all of that stuff.
pretty sure they've been in communication.
I'm 99% sure.
Have any other questions?
Okay. So what I'll do then, because there's nobody else standing out waiting to get in,
No? Or,
Um,
no?
that's, Justice, do you have any questions or comments or no?
No.
He's got
I
enough.
hope
He's got thumbs up.
I hope he's not I hope he's just sitting in his car and not.
No, he's driving. I just saw him.
All right, with that, then, if you just give me a minute, I'm going to call this public hearing adjourned at 12:26 PM. And that's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Nice office.
Yeah, I like the new space.
Yep. I don't know where it is.